welcome to Southwest Angling, and if you haven't noticed already, I have a new filming setup, and that includes this green screen. Its main purpose is mostly to just show my logo in case anyone forgets what channel they're watching, that being Southwest Angling, and also just giving like close-ups of things, like say if I put a lure right here, you can see it on the screen behind me, and other stuff like that. I'm still getting used to it, so sorry for the fact I don't really have a shadow and it's a bit weird looking. I'll put some other background so it looks less freaky. But anyways, today we have an exciting episode because today we are covering the top 3 best lures for ditch bass fishing. Now, for those of you who aren't familiar with it, New Mexico has a ton of ditches that run parallel to the river, and they are just chock full with little bass, and they are really hard to catch. Very hard, but once you do get them, they're really fun. Probably one of my favorite ways to fish, actually. So, a few things to keep in mind is that these fish are pretty small. Sure, you'll run into some toads, like 3-pounders, but mainly the lures we're using today are going to be pretty small to accommodate for that. So don't expect any 12-inch articulated swim baits this episode. Maybe another one. But anyways, so that. And also, this is just my own personal experience. If you have a lure that has caught more fish for you than any of these, let me know down in the comments section, and I might make a part 2 to this video. So that is all I have to say, and without further ado, let's get started by going over the top 3 lures for ditch bass fishing. Here we go. Alright guys, so the first lure we're going to go over is one that you definitely knew was coming on here, and that is of course the Yum Sharpshooter, my favorite bass lure of all time. Here is what the bait looks like. Actually, a long skinny worm with a tail. So yeah, this lure has honestly caught me more bass than any other by far. So why is it at number 3? Well, these lures aren't exactly going to be in order because I'm pretty biased to this lure and I've used it so much more than the other lures. So I mean, this has technically caught me more fish. But, you know, I want the other lures to sort of be a surprise, you know? So anyways, let's quickly go over the Yum Sharpshooter. The size I like to use, let's see, I believe it's 4 inches. Yeah, 4 inches in the Morning Dawn color, if you haven't known. And for hooks, I got this in my mystery tackle box. I might be doing some of those videos, so if you want to see them, let me know, and I'll do reviews for those. But anyways, these are the Skinny Bear Bass Jigs drop shot hooks, and they're 6 come in this pack, and they're a size 4, which work really well for these ditch bass because honestly they aren't that big and you don't need much. I mean, the average 8 inches maybe for an average, so you don't need anything big. But anyways, here is the hook right there, and to hook it all you need to do, thread your way through until it looks like that. That's how I do it. That's how I slay them. But anyway, so some of the places you might want to use this lure would be in sort of anywhere, for to be completely honest. I mean, I pitch them by bushes and stuff. I don't look for areas with that many snags because it is a drop shot and it can get hung up pretty easily, especially with the weight. And let's see, also do not use it in really shallow ditches. I know a few that are easily less than a foot, and for a drop shot you need at least about 2 feet of water for it to be really successful. But so yeah, none of that. We have other lures that will cover that, but deep stretches of water with a sand bottom, maybe behind like a spout that like feeds water in there. I mean, you can use it by cover, but maybe say if there's a tumbleweed, use it like a foot to the side. But yeah, it's a pretty darn versatile lure that'll catch you anything really. I mean, I'm sure a walleye will smash this or whatever other predatory fish are in your local ditch. But yeah, easily one of the most versatile lures ever for bass. I mean, I just adore this lure. So again, we all knew this was coming, so that's why I got it out of the way. So let's move on to number 2, which is something hopefully you didn't guess would be on this video right off the bat. Here we go. Alright guys, so for number 2, we have the very humble Jig Head and Cinco. Now, you may be saying, well, that's a oddly simple, stupid lure. Everyone uses a Cinco on like an EWG. Why a Jig Head? Well, this lure is the first one that has ever caught me a ditch bass ever. Here's that picture. Anyways, that was my first ditch bass ever. And it was caught on something like this. The jig head was a little different, but the bait was the same. Now, for trailers for this jig head combo, again, Cincos, but this is the 3-inch size and the smoke pearl blue, which has worked well for me. Oh, that's green. Is there a hole through me now? But anyways, yeah. Also, if you don't like the green screen, just tell me. I'll do something about it. Don't be afraid. Roast me in the comments section. But anyways, I'll try and hide that for you so it's less weird. This is fire. Alright guys, so now that the Cinco's out of the way, here are a few other trailers I like to use with those jigs. Here is a vicious fishing lure. Let's see what it's called. The Ultimate Worm. This is an 8-incher. I'd like to use other ribbon tail worms, but anyways, a big worm like that and just drag it along the bottom of a rocky area with, oh, I didn't go over the jigs. These are Rick's jigs. Oh, there's more green. But anyways, I got these from Sportsman's Warehouse. Really cool jigs. And let's see, yeah, 1/4 ounce black color. As you can see here, here's one out of the package, and as you can see, it has a very large eye, which I really like. I find that fish key in on it better, and it looks sort of more realistic, more tempting for them. But anyway, so that's the jig that I prefer using. Anyways, ribbon tail worm, just, yeah, again, dragging it along, and, you know, it's pretty big. If you're going for that bigger bite, you know, a fish larger than a pound, go for this and it should weed out a lot of the small ones. My other favorite lure to use with that is the Big Bite Baits. I'm not sure what it's called, but it is a twin tail grub. Now just look at that lure. One of the best looking lures I've ever seen, if we're to be honest. But yeah, this is the purple color with blue flakes. I'll put the exact name somewhere around here if I haven't already. But yeah, I really like this lure. It's sort of like a cheaper alternative to a jig, I think. Let's see. Both of them together are probably around 70 cents versus a jig where it's around a little over $2 for the small ones. But anyways, fire lure right there. Now for all of these, I like to target rocks with them. If you have any slopes of the ditch that are covered with really rugged rocks, this is a great lure to use there. Just hop it down. You might get snagged a little, but honestly, these lures are pretty cheap. That's why I like to use some of the cheapest I can find. But yeah, there is that bait right there. I can't say this one has caught me as many because I sort of got it pretty recently, but I'm sure to use it later in the season a lot more. But yeah, that is pretty much number 2. Sorry that there's multiple lures there, but I guess the jig is sort of the star itself to, you know, encompass all those, and it really is a versatile thing. So yeah, that's number 2, and now for number 1, my favorite ditch fishing lure. Let's go. Alright guys, on to my number 1 favorite ditch fishing lure. Now, again, the Sharpshooter has technically caught more, but this is definitely a close second, and this is the Bitsy Bug Jig by Strike King. Now, I know that was very specific, but the Bitsy Bug jigs are really small. I don't know what size, but here, let's get a normal jig out. For example, oh, this is my jig box, by the way, also green. This is where I keep all of the jigs I have. But here's, let's see. here is, say, a football style jig. That big, I mean, quite a big lure compared to this. And again, you have to adjust for the ditch bass because they are smaller, so that's why I prefer the Bitsy bug jigs. And also, their weed guard is really darn good. I mean, you will lose jigs. I mean, I've lost many trying to get under a tree and stuff like that, but overall, it's quite good. And they're overall pretty cheap. I mean, I think $1.80, $1.90. I mean, they're not bad at all compared to some of the other jigs. So, why are they my favorite? Well, mostly it's because they're just simply the funnest to use. I mean, you can walk out to a ditch just with a bait caster. I mean, you can use a spinning rod, but bait casters are way funner. So anyways, just walk up to your local ditch just with one jig on and just pitch right by a tumbleweed. Who cares? Go into the tumbleweed and just pull out bass. I don't know. It's just a really fun type of fishing. And again, the cover you can use these in, limitless. Just, you see a bush in the bush. You see a duckweed on top of the water, just pitch in there by a stick. Anywhere around a cover. Heck, even if it's an open bottom, just drag it along and it looks like a crawfish. It's just awesome, guys. I mean, I really do love using these lures. It's so fun, and in New Mexico, there's not too many options to use, in the city at least. I mean, large jigs, crankbaits, you know, the cool kid fishing lures. So being able to use something like this in a ditch, really, it feels good. It feels good. And if you guys are confused the difference between this jig and that jig, these style jigs are the fancier version with a rubber skirt, I guess, and a weed guard. These are just a standard ball head jig. These are the real deal right here. So anyways, as you can see, I have 3 different colors here, each for a different water condition. When the water's very nice and clear, I like to use this green pumpkin style with a green pumpkin trailer. I like to match the color of my trailers with the jig. It's just sort of a me thing. It looks neater. And when the water is slightly stained, you can use this in clear water. I like to go with the orange. I mean, it is very natural, but sometimes it might be a little too bright for them. So that's what I do in slightly stained. And for dirty, you know, clear enough to that you can still fish in it, because those ditches get wild. I don't know how those fish survive in that murky water. But anyways, here's the black and blue jig with a dark trailer. Now, as for the trailers, let's see, I like to use rodent style baits, and I know these aren't rodents, these are the woolly bug by Yum. They are pretty much the same. If you're looking for cheaper alternatives to like popular fishing lures, go to Yum, because I mean, the young dinger, I mean, way more inexpensive than a Cinco. These guys, I mean, they're really good at sort of mooching off of the fancier lures profit, but I mean, they're cheaper and they work really well. So anyways, here is what one of those look like. Just a nice compact bait, not a lot of action. You don't need a lot of action to entice them, especially when you're just flipping and pitching like right next to the bass. But if you are looking for that, I suggest using the Paca Craw. This is the Paca Craw Slim, actually. These are really, you know, getting big on the market. I know the Chigger Craw and Rage Craw have had their moment, but this is sort of taking the nation over. And here's what it looks like on the orange jig, and this will have more movement. I guess if you're sort of rolling it along the bottom, that's a better candidate rather than just flipping it in, but you can use both. But yeah, that is the #1 lure, and just to prove that it works, here is a video catching a fish on one of these jigs. Guys, so we literally just showed up at that ditch, and we saw this one right here, and I told Trey, you know, I'm just gonna flip it once. He said, no, it's too shallow. First cast. as it hit the bottom, I got that fish on that mini jig. I mean, just going off of this, I'm hoping it's a pretty good day. Oh, let's see. Oh, you really took it. You can see right in the corner of the mouth. Perfect hook set. Let's see. All right. Look at that guy right there. That's not a bad bass. There we go. Right there. Awesome start to the day. Let's hope we can get some more. So anyways, that was a really awesome fish to catch, especially the very first cast. I mean, that just shows how cool these jigs are. But anyways, that is pretty much all I have to offer. Again, if you guys have a ditch fishing lure that you would like to suggest for a part 2 to this video, please let me know and I will hop on that right quick. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you guys so much for watching. I have a lot planned. I think I'm going ditch fishing soon, so hopefully more of those episodes are coming. And a big announcement is gonna be soon, probably within this week, that I'll let you guys know about. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you next time. Toodles.